Hey, what's cracking? Hope this video finds you doing well. I hope you're sitting on top of the world, and today that you, my friend, have chose to pick up your blessings and throw down your curses. I know that it sounds cliche to say you have a choice whether you want to be happy or not, but it really is, man. Uh, it's like a radio. You just turn off the songs you don't want to hear, and that's the bottom line. Uh, all of us have bad things that happen in our life, every one of us. So when you run into a problem, you have to ask yourself, number one, is there anything you can do about it? And if you can't, you just got to put it out of your mind, because you dwell on those things and then you're negative, you're mad, you're aggravated, and it takes away your happiness. Choose to think about the things that make you happy, the things that you do have, the things that are going your way. And that's what I call picking up your blessings. Thank you for clicking on the video. If it's the first time you've ever watched one, my name is Ricky Dye, and I went to prison when I was 15 years old, and I didn't get out until I was 35, almost 36. I was in all the roughest places. I've been making my videos like a series, so you'll enjoy them most if you go back to the beginning and watch them all the way through. But I try to make each video stand on its own with a story in itself, and the few little insights and wisdoms that I've picked up through the years, I try to pass them on. I've hit my head so many times, I try to tell you where I hit my head at, maybe you won't hit yours. That's what the videos are all about. I haven't made a video in a little while, and I've missed you guys. Sorry I haven't been around. It's been a very hectic, crazy, wild, busy week for me. My mom had her back operated on from her pelvis up. They fused 5 levels, literally half her back, 42 staples. And so it's real hard to move her and help her without hurting her, and she's in a lot of pain. And so any of you guys take time out to throw a prayer her way, I appreciate that. And I'm sure some of you already have. I want to give a shout out to the Riders and Dyers. I have a couple of new ones. I don't have my stuff with me. I'm sitting in the car. I'm 120 miles away from home. But I wanted to talk to you guys and make a video. It's been over a week or around a week since I put one up, and that's not usual. I don't want people thinking I'm sick. I'm not sick. I have my hands full of my mom. Last Sunday and Monday, I played fantasy football, and I had a good weekend. Sunday night, I won $150 in a contest by placing third with $1. So, and then Monday night, I won $167 off of a $3 bet by placing fourth or fifth. So I enjoy fantasy football. I play the tournaments for cash, and so yeah, I won over $300. And then my oldest stepdaughter, my wife's oldest daughter, got her own place, moved into a place. She's been working to get on her feet for a while. She had a real rough time in her life with drugs and stuff, but she's been clean now 2 years, and she got her own place, and my wife wanted to come spend some time with her. So last night we came and spent the night with her, and we're visiting with her now. And then in a little while, my wife wants to go by and see her dad. He's in his late 70s, maybe early 80s. And so she's going to visit her family today. So I'm nowhere near home, but I want to stop by and make a video and talk to you guys. And the videos I'm going to be talking about, the next several probably, because I'm going to get back into my story today. And I met Granite, and there's been a riot, there's been a killing. Everything's deadly serious here. They check people's paperwork. I'm running this day room. If you haven't watched the videos, you should check them out. It's a pretty rough place. But now, all of a sudden, Oklahoma has become so overcrowded that they decide that they're going to start sending inmates to private prisons. It's when Oklahoma first started doing it. So the first private prison they decided to rent out, send inmates to, was Hinton. It's in Hinton. And at the time, there were North Carolina inmates there. Okay? All North Carolina inmates there. And they decided we're going to start shipping some Oklahoma inmates out, shipping these North Carolina inmates back to North Carolina. Oklahoma outbid them on the prison. Okay? At this time, there were no private prisons. No idea what it's going to be like. But I'm thinking, can't be worse than Granite. Can't be worse than where I'm at. This shit is terrible. So they come around and they tell everybody, if you've been at your facility, doesn't matter any medium security, they went around telling everybody, if you've been at your facility for a year, you can put in paperwork to go over here to this private prison. We need people to volunteer. If people volunteer, we'll take them. If not, we're just going to pick people up and ship them over there as we go, as we fill it up. So what they decided to do, they're going to send 50 there at a time. So they send the first group of Oklahomans over there, 50 of them. So they're there. This prison holds around 1,200 people. Now, another reason this video has been late is I've been working on piece of paper, a big piece of paper. It's probably 3 foot long and 2 foot tall. And I was going to draw you a diagram of Hinton Prison. Because when I tell you I was on A unit and I went out on the yard and hollered at somebody on B unit or C unit, it would be much better for you visually if you could look at it beside me and see what I'm talking about. And so whenever I get home for the next video, hopefully I'll have that for you, where you'll be able to hit pause and glance and you'll see just what I'm talking about. Okay, but the way this private prison is set up, when you come into it, it's master control. That's where everything goes through master control. Whether it's the guards coming in or inmates coming in, you come in through master control. Then there's a real long hallway, and at the end of it is B unit, okay? But it's like a big T, like a cross. At one end is B unit, the other end is master control, but halfway it splits off and goes in either direction. If you go left, you'd hit C unit. If you go right, you'd hit A. All right, and then the chow hall is along this hallway on your way to those units. All right. Now what they've done is they're sending the Oklahoma inmates to B unit because the guys on A and C, for the most part, can't get to B unit. They shouldn't be able to at all. There's guards anytime. Okay, they have what's called movement times when you can go up and down these hallways because everything is on the inside. You can go up this hallway and they have commissary along this hallway. They have the chow hall along this hallway. They have the school along this hallway. There's also another little small unit there, and it is called D unit, but it isn't really a normal unit. It's for guys who go and work out on the streets. It's kind of like a minimal right there inside the medium security, and you don't never see those guys. Now, because everything is inside, at this time, you could buy cigarettes and smoke in prison, okay? But because it was all inside, you couldn't smoke in the building. So they had little stations set up where you could go out on the yard, get a light. They didn't even sell lighters or matches on the canteen. They did that because they did not want you smoking on the inside, but they had little lighters you could walk up, stick your cigarette in there and push a button, get hot like a cigarette lighter in a car. Get a light and smoke your cigarette. They have little bitty areas where you could smoke an area where you could smoke if your unit wasn't on the yard. Now C unit was for people who are on level 3 and 4, people who don't get in trouble. It's the biggest unit, and they have the biggest cells, and they have their own yard, and they don't have to share it. A and B unit are identically built, and they have to share their yard, the A and B. So whenever the yard is open, half that time will go to A and half will go to B. Whoever's on the yard on A and B can go around to a fence, talk to the guys on C unit through the fence. That's how, so you can get around and talk to everybody, but if you're on A, you only have contact with people on A, B, same with A, and C, so on. Now, you do get a chance to make contact with people if you work in the kitchen or if you catch them during chow. They'll run one unit after another. But they start sending Oklahoma inmates there. And let me tell you something about North Carolina. The blacks in North Carolina only make up around 20 to 25% of the population in North Carolina. But they make up 55% of the prisoners, people locked up. There's evidently something very racist about North Carolina when there's only 20% of the population, but they are over half of the prison population. Now, tell you something else. They didn't send a bunch of the North Carolina whites to the Oklahoma private prisons. They're almost all black, over 80%. There are no what we call stand-up white boys in North Carolina. At this prison. We call stand-up white boys a guy who will, if you disrespect him, stand up and fight for himself. He won't tell on you. If he sees the cops trying to catch you or the guards trying to catch you during a shakedown, he'll help you try to get away with it. He'll defend himself. He's not going to let no one punk him out. He's going to be a convict, not an inmate. An inmate will help the police. Convict will help his fellow convict. Okay? But there's not hardly, I think there are 3 or 4 white guys from North Carolina, period, that the whites from Oklahoma respect. So most of the whites from North Carolina are in cells with black guys from North Carolina, and they're homosexuals and stuff. Now, in Oklahoma, you're not allowed to cell with a black if you're white. The other whites will judge you for that. They'll beat you up for that. You can't do it. The blacks, they can cell with whites, and the other blacks don't care. And a lot of times they prefer a white cell partner because they can the whites stay in line and they do all the cleaning and they can kind of dominate them. You know, I'm just being honest. Remember in my stories, man, don't unsubscribe to my damn channel because you're offended by something I say. I'm telling you what prison's like. I don't decide the rules. I didn't make the rules. I just survived the shit, man. And I'm just telling you what it's like. I've had some people unsubscribe to my channel, I'm sure, because I'm not woke. I don't know the correct terms and the right things to say. I just grew up in prison. I talk the way people do in prison. And when I say shit, it's not ever meant to offend you. I won't disrespect no one. I don't care if you're gay, black, white, Indian, yellow. Man, I don't give a shit, man. The only thing I care about is that you show me respect. And if you tell me you're gonna do something, you do it. You look a man in his eye and you give him your word, and that should count for something, man. You should do that. Because if I give you my word, you can bet your life I did it or I perished in the attempt. Oh, dirty ass convict, but you can count on what I say. And that's all I ask of anybody. The rest, man, I don't give a shit. I'm just telling you what it's like. There's no need to unsubscribe from the channel. You took something wrong if I've said something that offends you, because I never mean to offend you. I want you to know that up front. I appreciate you watching my videos. I appreciate you subscribing. You guys with the comments, you're what keeps me doing it. Now, I've noticed that a few trolls have started coming out. I knew that shit was gonna happen. It happens in prison. Here's how it goes down, man. I got some weed. This dude comes up and buys some from me. Black dude. He buys the last of it. What I got left, I was just gonna smoke. And here comes a white dude. Just seen me sell some to the black dude. He asked me I don't have none. He walks off talking about I'm an end lover. Okay? Other way around. White dude comes up and buys some. Buys the last. That's all I got. Black dude comes asking me, knows I just sold it to these white boys. I don't have no more. Now I'm a racist motherfucker. I sell it to this homosexual because money is green, baby. I don't give a shit what color you are or what you do when the cell door is locked. You can come to me with some money. I'm selling weed. I'm going to take your money. You come to me and you're gay. You get it. You walk off. Here comes this other dude, solid white boy. Let me get some weed. I'm out, brother. Walks off. He must be fucking that homosexual. So, you know what I'm saying? I know what the score is. I know people is going to come out, try to say I'm gay, try to say I did this or that. But, man, I was everything I was supposed to be. Else I wouldn't be making these videos. And that's all there is to it. Not going to worry about that shit. I try to answer every single comment. But sometimes some slide by me. Sometimes I just don't see it. It doesn't give me the notification. Somebody says something foul and it's up there several days before I know. I'm just going to remove it. Used to, if it was in prison, I would try to find out who you are and track you down, challenge you to a knife fight for doing that shit. But I'm not in that prison no more. I threw away years of my life. Now my only goal is to help other people. And so I don't give a shit about all that. I'm just gonna remove it. I don't care. I don't have nothing to defend myself for. People talked about Jesus and he came to save the world. So of course they're gonna talk about me, and I expect that. So I'm sorry to break away from the video. That's just something I had to throw out there. It's just been bothering me. Now, when they started shipping us in 50 at a time, now, I've told you that they're almost all black. But what I didn't tell you yet, I don't know if you know what the Nation of Islam are, but there was a very, very large population of Nation of Islam there. Nation of Islam believes that white people are the devil, especially white people with blonde hair and blue eyes. I have brown eyes and blondish red hair. That was close enough. Hold on. So let me tell you, they did not like white people. They hate us, straight up. And this is not a racial thing. You grow up in the United States, you know, and there's always racism everywhere. But they believe, their religion, they believe that you're the devil. They believe that you are trying to not only ruin their life here, but spiritually. They hate you. And in North Carolina, it's all right for whites and blacks to sell together, but in Oklahoma, it's not. So we show up there, 50 of us, and there's part blacks and part whites, and we can't go in a cell with the blacks. Even if we don't care, the other whites, when they get here, or when we go to another yard, they're gonna say, hey man, you want to sell with a black guy. And we're gonna get smashed out for it, so we can't do it. Gotta refuse to sell with them. But the problem is there's nowhere for them to put us. So we end up getting put, when you go to lockup, when you get down in lockup, there's just this big old cage out in the middle of where it would be it's like a normal day room, but it's not a day room. It's set up for lockup instead. But it's built the same way as the other day rooms. But out in the middle of the day room, where normally there would be chairs, couches, and a TV on the wall, it's just a big cage with chain link fence around it. And so that's where they'll put you while they're getting ready to put you in a cell and lockup. So they put us down there, and they try to put us in a cell with a black and lockup. It's the same thing. Still can't go in the cell with a black if you're white. Even if you don't have a problem with it, it's going to get you judged by the other whites, get you beat out anywhere you go. So you can't do it. So we're out there sleeping on our mat in this cage because we can't find cells for us. Because the whole prison is almost black. Because it's been North Carolina, 80% black on the yard. Okay, here we are, we get here white. And then there's a problem. Even the blacks from Oklahoma, dudes from North Carolina are just taking our shit. Because they don't like people from Oklahoma, I guess. So, man, we try to rear up. Some of us get together, like 5 or 6 blacks and 3 or 4 whites from Oklahoma get together. Shit, they just come in 50 deep, man. We don't have a chance, man. They keep locking the place down. So the way it's set up is when you come in A unit, in the middle of the, as soon as you come in, there's a rotunda, a big circle, like a circular hallway. In the middle of that, there's a door, and they go in there and walk up the stairs, and upstairs there's a little bubble for the guards to stand in. So they can walk around there and see all of A unit by looking in through this glass upstairs there. Now you can walk around this little hallway here. First thing you do is on the right, you can go in, there's a gym. The next one is AA, AB, AC, AD, AE, AF, AG. Okay, that's A unit. Okay, each day room has about 20 cells in it. So there's 40 people in each one. So they'll open the day room doors once an hour, say at 1 o'clock. They pop all the doors. You can go in any of those day rooms, or you can go up that hallway if you want to go to school or chow or whatever's going on. So you can either go up the hallway or you can go around and do the day room. You only got 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get where you're going to go, and they'll lock all them doors again. And the reason they do that, so if something pops off, it's contained to one day room. You can't even see what's going on in the other day rooms. Because that glass that those guards look through, it's all tinted. You can't, if you're in AA, you can't see what's going on in AG through the windows. You have no idea what's going on over there. All right, so what you have to do is there are doors that connect AA to AB, AB to AC. They're called fire doors, and the guards go through those to count. Okay, there's one upstairs and one downstairs, so you can pass a note next door, and they can pass it, but that's what you have to do. So once an hour, you're able to move, but other than that, you're locked into the day room. So they're trying to send the people from Oklahoma over to B unit, so we have us all in that one unit, keep it contained, try to keep them all off of us, right? So they ship in 50, then they ship in 100. When they get to 150, then there's more of them. They're all on B unit, and there's a big deal. They come in there, they try to bulldog, man. I got there in the 4th group, okay? So when I got there in the 4th group, they have just had a big deal with them. They had a big deal when there's 150 people. They come in, and then just some 5%ers come in on this black dude and just took all his shit. And then before they left the day room, they took this white guy's shit. Both from Oklahoma, just took all their shit. Took their shoes right off their feet. Made them take their shoes off, lumped them up, took all their canteen, because they're from Oklahoma. And then they left and split it down. Like 10 dudes did this. You know, and just one guy, like 10 dudes come up in the day room and did this during movement. Opened the doors during movement, they just come up in there and took everything, lumped these 2 guys up and left. So our head guy is from Oklahoma, like this dude named Eddie Wallen. Big white dude, respected, knockout. Bam, hit you, you're asleep. Big old hard white boy. And a black dude named Babyhead. Babyhead is straight up rider. He went to prison when he was 16 years old. He's not a Crip or a Blood, but he gets respect from both of them. Went to prison when he was 16 years old. Now he's in his 30s, and he's hard as a black dude can be. This dude put hands on you. His hands just look like rocks. He was on the boxing team. They used to have boxing in prison, and he was going around knocking fools out. Babyhead was hard. So him and Eddie, they're doing the talking for us. So when they call movement time, we got 150 people on B unit now. So they all come out there at the front of B unit. It's a big old long hallway. This hallway is probably 5, 6 people wide. So Babyhead and Eddie's up at the front. Man, that whole hallway, they come out for A unit and C unit. They had the whole hallway filled up, and the guards couldn't make them move. Guards couldn't even get up there to where the main guys are talking. Couldn't even get up there to where they're talking. So they're saying, man, look here, man, y'all ain't fixing to just bully us because we're from Oklahoma, and they're trying to talk this shit out. And up there on every day room and up in the hallway, up there in the bubble where the guards are, there's a circle. And they throw you rolls of toilet paper out. If you push the button downstairs in the everyday room, there's a button and a speaker where you could ask them to let you out. If you work, push it, ask for a roll of toilet paper, throw a roll of toilet paper through that hole. What that hole's really for is gas cans. So they threw some gas cans down there, made everybody run, got the place locked down. So as soon as that's over, they ship in the next 50, and I'm one of them. Okay, so this shit ain't been handled. Nothing can happen. Okay, so here's the deal about the North Carolina guys. They're getting good time, and they're getting level 4. Okay, so your pay, what you make in money when you work your job, depends on your level. Okay, if you're on level 4, you get $12, and $1.80 goes in your saving for when you get out. So you get to draw down $10.20. If you're on level 3, you don't make as much. You make like $10, and if you're on level 2, you only make 8. If you're on level 1, you don't get a job. You can't do anything on level 1. So depends on your level. But these guys are getting the top level just because they came to Oklahoma. So they're getting their maximum pay. Theirs is different than theirs. They're making like $40 a month just for coming to Oklahoma. And they can't get write-ups. If a guard in Oklahoma writes them up, it doesn't count. You may as well not even do it. Just throw it away. So they can't punish them. The only thing they can do to a North Carolina inmate for punishment is put them in lockup. That's it. They can get them, take them to lockup, keep them down there a while, let them out. That's all they can do. Their write-ups don't matter or nothing. They're getting good days and pay just for being here. Okay, so that's why they're here. All right, so this one white dude named Roche, he goes and makes some beer. He makes him some beer. He's from North Carolina. He's white. He makes some beer. This will give you an example of how they're running shit. So he makes some beer. Guards find out he made some beer. They're going to come up there and try to shake him down and take it. He pulls a knife on him, stands at his door. Y'all ain't coming in here and taking my beer. Y'all ain't coming here and taking my beer. So they go get all suited up. They got their riot stuff on, you know, they've got padding on, they got electric shield and shit. He's standing there at the door drinking his beer. He goes around, so they got to come upstairs to the top rung to get to him. So he goes right to the top of the stairs where they can only come up 1 or 2 at a time. Standing there with his knife in one hand and his jug of beer in the other, drinking it. And he says, y'all ain't taking me to lockup. I'm drinking the rest of my beer. I'm not causing problems. I ain't fighting nobody. I ain't doing nothing. Y'all leave me alone. So they end up, they send this old woman to talk to him, a guard, because he liked her. And they're trying to talk him down. She goes and talks to him. She ends up telling him, give me the knife. You go lock down your cell and drink your beer. But if you come out of the cell, we're going to lock you up. So they agree to that. That's something that would never fucking happen, man. He gave him the knife, goes and locks down in his cell, finished drinking his beer. In the morning, comes out like nothing's happening. That shit don't happen in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, you're going to get 20 years for that knife. But here's the other thing. The DAs would not pick up the charges on them unless it was a murder or someone was in the hospital. Like in Oklahoma, if you get caught with a knife, they'll charge you and the DA will put time on you. But because they're from North Carolina, Oklahoma didn't want the trouble of filing new charges on these guys from another state. Now they're an Oklahoma problem. So they wouldn't file charges on them for anything less than a murder or attempted murder or stabbing. So they wouldn't file charges on them for a knife. So if we get caught with a knife, we get time for it. If they get caught with a knife, they just go to lockup for a few days, if that. Okay. The next thing is, normally in a prison, and this private prison is crazy, man. Normally in a prison, if me and you get into a fight in Oklahoma, they're shipping one of us, maybe both of us, every time for sure, to make sure we don't get into it again. But North Carolina and Oklahoma too, once you get here, you are stuck. I stabbed 2 different people and didn't get shipped, and neither did they. And I got a dude stab me. Neither one of us got shipped. You could get into a fight, they take you to lockup 30 days, let you back out. So Roche, he gets his drunk, he drinks his beer that night, and the next day he's standing out there drinking coffee, and this guard walks up to him, and he's talking to him about it, telling him it had been different. It'd been different if I would have been the one running that. You know, blah, blah, talking shit. So Roche's smoking a cigarette, and he tells him, I'm going to tell you what, man. He said, I'm going to finish this cigarette, then I'm going to knock you out. Dude's like, yeah, you ain't put your hands on me. He's just standing there smiling, smoking a cigarette. He flipped his cigarette out and bam, knocked him out. And the guards come and got him, and they whoop Roche's ass for that. So I end up in lockup a short time later. I'll tell you about that in my next video, but I end up in lockup a short time later. Man, he's got this big lump on his ribs that won't heal, and it's like he had broken ribs, and he's got this big knot on his head. They didn't take him to medical or nothing. They beat the shit out of him for that one. But he didn't get in no trouble except for that. They just did that, and then he was down in lockup like 6 or 8 months, and they shipped him back to North Carolina. But that was it. He was still getting good time. So then they go back if they want a second tray, like they'll just go back through line. When you come in the chow hall, they have a table like before black guys sitting at a table. It was 4-man tables, but they have like 7 or 8 trays on the table. Everybody just getting what they want off of them, and the guards won't say shit to them because they don't want no trouble with those guys over an extra tray. But if you're from Oklahoma and you walk through, you better not go through the line twice. They'll write you up because the write-ups stick if you're from Oklahoma. So we're at a great disadvantage because they can have a knife, walk around and get in trouble for it. We'll get time if we get caught with a knife, okay? So the way I go to lockup, I get there in the 4th group and hanging out with Babyhead. He's been running a poker game. And we're sitting there playing poker, me and Babyhead and 4 or 5 other white and black guys, and all of a sudden, we look up, and these black guys from North Carolina just got us surrounded. Got us surrounded, man. They're all around us, like, not 1 or 2 guys behind. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 deep all the way around us. And they tell us we're not allowed to play poker. We're not allowed to play poker. That's not how it is. In North Carolina, someone owns each day room. Like, this dude owns the gambling rights. So you can't run a poker game unless you go to him and get an okay to run your poker game. And then you got to give him a cut off whatever you make because he owns the gambling on that unit. And we're like, no, we don't do that shit, man. If you open up the game, you make sure everybody gets paid, that you're running the house, and that's it, man. We ain't nobody own no damn gambling. We're not pay you for us to play cards, you know what I'm saying? So it damn near turned into a big deal. But what Babyhead was involved in that other deal, so he's the one doing the talking now. And I'm telling him, you know what I'm saying, we won't play poker with no North Carolinas, and you can't play with us. So North Carolina guy, if you're sitting there running a game from Oklahoma, and somebody comes in and wants to play, you just give them money for the money they bring, some chips for the money they bring, but no one can get in your game for North Carolina. If you want to have North Carolina players, you got to go pay this dude that owns the North Carolina gambling. Otherwise, they can't gamble at your table, and vice versa. So you can't gamble at their table unless you pay the gambling god, I guess. So, hey man, this video is almost 30 minutes. I want to really jump right into it a little further and tell you about how I ended up in lockup with Roche. But you will hear about that in the next video, how they tried to take my shit too. So that's what there is to look forward to in the next one. I hope that you're doing well today. I hope that you've chose to think about the things that you have and not the things that you don't, to look at the bright side, because perception is everything. And I hope that I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.